You have quite a task ahead of yourself when kind of bringing to life this character that is maybe changing, how we view this iconic superhero. What's that like for you? I know in a very real world, since you probably are playing the character a little too well, if social media has something to say about it. But talk to me about, really kind of exploring these very real life themes that are happening and coming across through your character.
It's simple in a way, in that when you look at the character that you're playing, no matter what the character is, from a place of what would this guy do and what would this guy feel like? When you look at his background, it's important to look at someone's background. You can see why he thinks what he's doing is right. He's been trained by the government for a long time to be a killing machine. That's what they train them to do. So when he's been thrust into this position as Captain America, it's not something that he necessarily chose to do. It's something that he was chosen by the only family that he's known in a long time, which is the US government, to be able to perform his duty. So when he goes and does these things, in his mind, he's saying, I'm hired to kill bad guys. I'm not thinking about the moral ramifications of what I'm going to do. I'm just doing it. He's robotic in that way. And that's what raises these questions of, well, if you're going to be Captain America, you're going to hold that shield. There's a lot more that goes into it than just erasing bad guys from the planet. It doesn't work like that. So in John's version of that, in his mind, he's not entirely in the wrong. And that's what I think makes interesting characters, is when they end up thinking, wait a second, how are you making me feel like I'm wrong? I'm just doing my job. And there's an unaware quality to him in the world that he's now living in, where he was sort of living in a world in the past that he wasn't scrutinized in the way that he's going to be scrutinized now, and that we're watching him have to figure that out and deal with that.
The reason I'm so anti John becoming the Captain America is because he doesn't have that same humanity, that same dignity, prowess as Steve. Like, prime example, in New Orleans, John wouldn't be a bad guy. He would be known as throwed off. Like, he just a little bit ain't right. He's okay. He just a little ain't right. So in New Orleans, he would be throwed off, So it's not that I don't like him or I think that he's bad or awful human being. He's just put in the wrong job.
Yeah.
So when that moment happens and Sam sees that, because there's been many times that the shield has been used as a weapon. This is just the first time it's been done in a way where it's a public non-superhero setting. And, in the Marvel universe, when there's blood, the blood, 75,000 people die every movie. But when there's blood, it is a real thing,
Yeah.
So it's used for effect. And I think that moment was meant to be effective on many different accords, and the blood on the shield kind of magnified that in a great way.
Anthony, Sam's reluctance to take up the shield feels like it's driven in part by his respect for Steve Rogers, but how much do you think his Blackness factors into that decision in your eyes, as you obviously play the character?
Well, his Blackness is definitely a part of it, and a huge portion of it. I mean, it starts with the idea of it being Steve's shield. At the end of Endgame, I said, it feels like it's someone else's. It feels like it's yours. There's a soldier admiration and respect, a brotherhood between the two of them that was very important to him. He's a counselor of soldiers. He's a man of his word. So, a lot of the idea of his Blackness as an American man, his Blackness in his day-to-day reality, his Blackness with the family and the history in which he's come from, but his relationship with Steve played a big part in it also.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.